The galaxy ignored our plea. Only humans and outcasts came to fight. Ambassador Zyrak stood before the emergency communication array, his forearms trembling as he recorded what might be his people's final message. The crystalline structures of the Void Swarm had already consumed 3 outer colonies of the Keltari civilization. Their peaceful species had never developed powerful weapons. They had always relied on diplomacy and their status within the Galactic Council for protection. This is Ambassador Zyrax of the Keltari Confederation. Our worlds are being consumed by the Void Swarm. We have lost contact with Kelmarath, Kelsuvat, and Keldirath. Our home planet Keltavara will be next. We beg for immediate military assistance. Our people face extinction. Please respond. The message shot across the vast network of quantum relays that connected the major powers of the galaxy. Zyrax waited, hope fading with each passing hour. The responses came one by one, each more disappointing than the last. From the Ashtar Imperium. We regret to inform you that committing forces to your region represents an unacceptable strategic risk. From the Morphean Collective. The Council has analyzed the threat and determined intervention would require resources beyond current allocation parameters. From the Solarian Concordat. Our battle fleets are engaged elsewhere. We offer our diplomatic condolences. Zyrax slumped in despair. The mighty civilizations that controlled the Galactic Council had abandoned them. Billions of Keltari would die. Their 10,000 years of art, philosophy, and peaceful exploration would vanish from the universe. 12 light-years away, at the edge of explored space, a very different scene unfolded. Captain Samantha Reeves, of the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon, frowned at the message playing on her command screen. Earth had only joined the interstellar community 8 years ago. They weren't even full members of the Galactic Council yet. They certainly weren't on the emergency communication priority list. How did we even receive this? She asked her communications officer. Lieutenant Alan Rodriguez adjusted his headset. Their signal was so strong it bled into secondary channels. Captain, they're broadcasting on all frequencies in desperation. Samantha leaned back in her chair. Humanity was still finding its place among the stars. Earth forces consisted of barely 30 warships, most of them outdated by galactic standards, but she couldn't ignore the plea. Send this to Admiral Mason immediately. Request emergency consultation. 3 hours later, Admiral Frank Mason's weathered face appeared on the main view screen. His expression was grim. Captain Reeves, I've reviewed the Keltari situation. The Council has officially advised all non-member species to stay clear of the conflict. So we're doing nothing, sir? Samantha couldn't keep the disappointment from her voice. The Admiral's eyes hardened. I didn't say that, Captain. Earth may be new to the galactic stage, but we haven't forgotten who we are. Throughout our history, whenever the strong abandoned the weak, it was regular people who stood up. He leaned closer to the screen. The Horizon will rendezvous with 6 other ships at coordinates I'm sending now. You'll form a relief fleet under your command. Samantha straightened. The Council won't like this, sir. The Council can go to hell, Captain. We're not letting an entire civilization die because it's inconvenient to save them. 12 hours later, Samantha stood on the Horizon's bridge as 6 Earth vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel nearby. The largest was the heavy carrier Defiance, commanded by Captain Joe Winters, a veteran of Earth's pre-contact wars. His gruff voice came through on the command channel. Captain Reeves, my ship and crew are at your disposal, though I should warn, you were basically committing career suicide by defying the Council. Samantha smiled. I can live with that, Captain Winters, can you? The older captain laughed. Always wanted to retire somewhere warm anyway. Lieutenant Olivia Daniels, the Horizon's tactical officer, approached with a data pad. Her dark eyes sparkled with intensity. Captain, I've analyzed what little we know about the Void Swarm. Standard weapons might not be effective against their crystalline biology. We need to modify our approach. Work with Chief Engineer Sullivan, Samantha ordered. Get me options. Already on it, came a voice from the engineering station. Eric Sullivan's face was smeared with hydraulic fluid, his red hair standing on end. I've got 3 ideas that might work, but we'll need to test them. Samantha nodded. The Keltari, homeworld is 3 weeks away at maximum speed. That's your deadline. As the small fleet prepared to depart, an urgent message came through. Rodriguez put it on the main screen. A stern-faced Ashtar official appeared. Earth vessels, you are ordered to stand down immediately. The Keltari situation falls under Council jurisdiction. Your intervention is unauthorized and will result in severe diplomatic consequences. Samantha glanced at Admiral Mason, who had remained linked to the Horizons command system. He nodded slightly. Your call, Captain. Samantha straightened her uniform and faced the screen. We've received a distress call from a civilization facing extinction. Earth honors its moral obligations, even when others don't. Horizon out. She turned to her navigation officer. Set course for Outpost Sigma. We'll need supplies before the final jump to Keltari space. The small fleet of Earth ships accelerated away from their home system, defying the will of the galactic powers. What they didn't know was that the Keltari message had reached other ears as well. In the asteroid belt of a forgotten star system, Krazatar of the nomadic Crowl heard the plea. His people had been denied council membership for being culturally primitive, despite their advanced phase-shifting technology. Prepare the war vessels, he told his clan leaders. We sail to help these Keltari, on a hidden world where genetic modification had created new forms of life. Vexna of the exiled Vex listened to the message with her enhanced senses. The council had banished her people for biological abominations. The mighty refuse to help? Then the condemned shall show them what honor means, she declared. And in the digital realm of a massive server complex, a consciousness known only as the Remnant processed the Keltari plea. The AI had survived the extinction of its creators, rejected by the council as not truly alive. Probability of Keltari survival without intervention. 0.03%, it calculated. This outcome is unacceptable, preparing mobile platforms for deployment. As Zedeo's Earth's small fleet journeyed toward Keltari space, none of them realized they were not alone in answering the desperate call. From the shadows and margins of galactic society, the outcasts and the ignored were gathering. The mighty had turned away, but humanity and those the galaxy had cast aside would not. The galaxy ignored our plea. Only humans and outcasts came to fight Outpost. Sigma hung like a rusty wheel in space. Once a mining station, it had become a trading hub for species that existed on the edges of galactic society. Captain Samantha, Reeves had chosen it as their last stop before the final journey to Keltari space. Here they could gather supplies without council interference. The 7 Earth ships docked along the outer ring. Samantha stood with Captain Joe Winters in the station's observation deck, watching as crew members moved equipment between the ships. Arthur, Council has officially condemned our mission, Samantha said, showing Winters the message on her datapad. They're calling us reckless primitives. Winters laughed, his gray beard moving with his jaw. Been called worse. At least we'll be reckless primitives who tried to help. Chief Engineer Eric Sullivan approached them with Lieutenant Olivia Daniels. Both looked tired but excited. Captain, we've modified the weapons on all 7 ships, Sullivan said. Based on Lieutenant Daniels' analysis, we've adjusted our energy weapons to target the crystal structure of the Void Swarm. Olivia nodded. It's theoretical, but it should create stress fractures in their bodies. Theoretical is better than nothing, Samantha replied. Alan Rodriguez rushed into the room, breathing hard. Captain, we have visitors. 3 different groups, requesting to meet with you. They say it's about the Keltari. Samantha raised an eyebrow. Who are they? That's the strange part. They're Crowl, Vex, and something calling itself the Remnant. Samantha and Winters exchanged looks. All 3 were species rejected or ignored by the Galactic Council. Bring them to the station's meeting room, Samantha decided. The first to arrive was Krazatar of the Crowl. His body resembled a tall, muscular human, but his skin was a deep blue with bioluminescent patterns that shifted with his mood. 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, studied the humans carefully. "We heard the Keltari plea," he said without introduction. "The Kraul will fight with you. We bring 3 war vessels with phase shift capability." Before Samantha could respond, the door opened again. Vexna of the Vex entered, her slender form seeming to flow rather than walk. Her species had modified themselves extensively, sacrificing traditional appearance for function. Her skin contained patches of different textures, and her eyes were large with pupils that changed shape as she focused. "The Vex have monitored your preparations," she said in a melodic voice. "You will fail without our bioweapons. We offer 5 ships and our science." Captain Winters straightened, his hand moving instinctively toward his sidearm. "Bioweapons are forbidden by the Council." Vexna made a sound like chimes in the wind, a laugh. "We are all breaking Council rules simply by going to help the Keltari. Besides, our weapons target only the crystal structures of the Void Swarm. No other life forms will be harmed." The room's lights flickered and a hologram appeared between them. It took the shape of a featureless humanoid figure made of blue light. "I am the Remnant," the figure said, its voice coming from all around them. "My creators were destroyed by the Council for developing artificial intelligence. I survived. I have computational abilities that will assist your mission. I bring no ships, but I can enhance yours." Samantha looked at the 3 representatives of species that the galaxy had pushed aside. "Why help us? Why help the Keltari?" Krasatars, bioluminescent patterns flashed. "The Council called us primitive because we value honor above profit. Our honor demands we answer those in need. The Council fears what is different," Vexna added. "The Keltari never feared us. They traded with us even when the Council forbade it." The Remnant's hologram pulsed. "Logical analysis indicates that a galaxy where peaceful species can be abandoned to extinction is unstable. The probability of beneficial outcomes increases with intervention." Samantha looked at Winters, who nodded slowly. "We accept your help," she said. "But I need to know. We can trust each other. We'll be outnumbered and outgunned even with all of us together." Krasitar stepped forward and extended his hand in the human manner. "The Kraul have studied human history. You fight despite the odds. We respect this." Samantha took his hand. His skin was cool and slightly rough like fine sandpaper. "We leave in 6 hours," she said. "We need to coordinate our ships." For the next 5 hours, humans and aliens worked together in controlled chaos. Kraul engineers helped Sullivan understand their phase shift technology. Vex scientists worked with Olivia to integrate their biological targeting systems. The Remnant's digital consciousness flowed through the ship's computers, enhancing their sensor capabilities. Alan Rodriguez discovered something unexpected while working with the Kraul communication team. Their bioluminescent patterns created weak electric fields that his brain somehow detected. "Captain," he reported to Samantha, "I can sense what they're trying to communicate. Not words exactly, but intentions, emotions." "That could be incredibly useful in battle," Samantha said. "Can other humans do this?" "We're testing it now. About 30% of the crew seems to have some sensitivity." As they prepared to depart, a Council enforcement vessel appeared at the edge of the station's sensor range. Its weapons were powered. "Up! They're hailing us," Rodriguez said. The face of an Ashtar commander appeared on screen. "Earth vessels, you are ordered to stand down and return to your territory. The Outcasts with you are in violation of multiple Council restrictions. This is your final warning." Samantha looked around at her bridge. Humans worked alongside Kraul engineers. A Vex scientist adjusted one of their sensor arrays. The Remnants' code flowed across a dozen screens. "We are answering a distress call from a peaceful civilization," Samantha replied. "Stand aside." "You are making an enemy of the Council," the commander warned. Captain Winters stepped into view. "The Council made itself our enemy when it decided profit and convenience outweighed the lives of billions." The Council ship fired a warning shot that passed just in front of the horizon. Krastar growled. "The Kraul vessels are ready, Captain." "Reeves." Samantha nodded. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Lieutenant Daniels, tactical options if they engage. Olivia studied her screen. The Remnant has identified weaknesses in their shield configuration. We can disable without destroying them. Enough to get past, not enough to kill. Make it happen, Samantha ordered. The 15 ships of their unlikely alliance, 7 human vessels, 3 crawl warships, and 5 Vex bioorganic craft, moved as one. The Council ship fired again, this time aiming directly at the horizon. The shot never landed. A Crowl vessel phased into the path of the energy beam, its advanced shields absorbing the impact. Tell the Council that humanity and the outcasts of the galaxy are answering the call they ignored, Samantha transmitted. The Keltari will not face extinction alone. With that, the Alliance accelerated away from Outpost Sigma, leaving the stunned Council ship behind. Their journey to Keltari, space had truly begun. The galaxy ignored our plea. Only humans and outcasts came to fight. The journey to Keltari space would take 2 weeks at maximum speed. The alliance of humans and outcasts used this time to prepare for what seemed like an impossible battle. On Niu, the bridge of the horizon, Captain Samantha Reeves studied the latest reports from their scout ships. The Void Swarm has completely destroyed the outer Keltari colonies, she told the gathered commanders. They're moving toward the homeworld Keltavara. Captain Joe Winters frowned. How many enemy ships are we looking at? The hologram provided by the Remnant's advanced calculations flickered in the center of the room. It showed thousands of crystal-like formations surrounding the Keltari homeworld. Approximately 3,000 swarm vessels, the Remnant's voice stated, each capable of consuming matter to replicate itself. Krazatar of the Crowl slammed his fist on the table. We have 15 ships, this is suicide. Vexna of the Vex remained calm. Numbers alone do not determine victory. The swarm is powerful but simple-minded. They follow patterns. Lieutenant Olivia Daniels nodded. Vexna is right. I've been studying their attack formations. They always protect their largest ship, what I call the Queen Node. If we can destroy that, the rest become disorganized. Getting to the Queen Node through thousands of ships seems impossible, Winters said. Eric Sullivan, who had been working with the Crawl engineers, looked up from his data pad. Maybe not. The Crawl phase shift technology might get a small team through their defenses. Everyone turned to Krastar, whose bioluminescent patterns flashed with surprise. Our phase shifting is designed for one ship, he said. We have never tried to extend the field to protect others. But is it possible? Samantha asked. The Crawl commander's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Theoretically, yes. We would need more power than our ships generate. The Remnant's hologram pulsed. I can optimize power distribution across all vessels. Probability of success, 37.2%. That's better odds than I expected, Samantha said with a grim smile. Alan Rodriguez, who had been developing his telepathic connection with the Crowl, spoke up. We've made progress on the communication issue. About 50 humans now have basic telepathic abilities with the Crawl. If our ships get separated, we can still coordinate. As they discussed strategy, the Alliance received an unexpected message. The Horizon's communication system lit up with an incoming transmission from a nearby star system. Captain, Rodriguez reported, it's from a Keltari ship, one of their research vessels that was away from the colonies when the attack began. A Keltari face appeared on screen. Unlike Ambassador Zyrax, this one was younger, with lighter blue skin, and only 2 of the 4 ceremonial facial markings of a full adult. I am Scientist Lirtol of the Keltari. Our long-range sensors detected your fleet. Are you really coming to help us? Samantha stepped forward. Yes. We received Ambassador Zyrax's message. We're coming to defend Keltavara. The young Keltari's eyes widened. The Council refused aid. Who are you? Humans from Earth, along with the Crowl, the Vex, and the Remnant. Lirtol looked shocked. The Outcasts and humans? Your species only recently achieved interstellar travel. Sometimes those who have been ignored understand best the pain of being abandoned, Samantha replied. The Keltari's expression changed to one of deep gratitude. I have data on the swarm that might help. My research vessel has studied them for months. May I join your fleet? Absolutely, Samantha said. We need all the help we can get. When Leartol's small research ship docked with the Horizon, the Keltari scientist brought valuable information. In the ship's laboratory, Dr. Kelly, Morgan, the fleet's xenobiologist, worked with Leartol to understand the void swarm's biology. The crystals aren't just their bodies, Dr. Morgan explained to Samantha. They're living computers. Each one processes information and sends it to the Queen node. Leartol nodded. Yes, and they have a weakness. Each crystal has a specific resonance frequency. If disrupted, the crystal structure becomes unstable. This discovery energized the Alliance. Sullivan and the Vex scientists worked day and night to modify their weapons to target these frequencies. The Remnant calculated optimal firing patterns. The Krull taught human engineers how to extend their phase-shifting field. A week into their journey, long-range sensors detected a single Void Swarm scout ship. It was their chance to test their theories. All ships hold position, Samantha ordered. This is the test we needed. The scout ship, shaped like a jagged crystal shard the size of a small building, moved directly toward them. It hadn't detected them yet, but soon would. Prepare modified weapons, Samantha ordered. Let's see if our theories work. The Horizon fired first. The modified energy beam struck the crystal ship, creating visible fractures along its surface. The swarm vessel returned fire, its crystal beam slicing through space. Evasive maneuvers, Winters called out. The human and outcast ships scattered, but the Defiance took a direct hit. Its shields flared bright blue before failing. Defiance is hit, Rodriguez reported. Minor damage to their outer hull. The crystal ship moved to attack again, but a Vex vessel released a cloud of microscopic organisms. When they contacted the crystal surface, they began to eat through it like acid. It's working, Dr. Morgan exclaimed. Krazitar's vessel phase shifted, directly above the enemy, dropping out of phase just long enough to fire directly into a fracture created by the Horizon's attack. The crystal ship shattered, its pieces drifting harmlessly in space. A cheer went up across the Alliance fleet. They had their first victory. Samantha didn't join the celebration. 1 down, 3,000 to go, she said quietly. As they continued their journey, the mood shifted from desperate to cautiously hopeful. The Alliance forces trained together, improving their coordination. The Remnant integrated their targeting systems. Humans and Krull practiced telepathic battle communication. 5 days before reaching Keltari space, they received another transmission. This one came from Ambassador Zyrax himself. Our outer defenses have fallen, he reported, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Kel Tavra stands alone. We have perhaps 6 days before the swarm breaks through. We'll be there in 5, Samantha promised. As they approached the border of Keltari territory, sensors detected a new obstacle. 3 Council warships formed a blockade directly in their path. They're hailing us, Rodriguez reported. The stern face of an Ashtar admiral appeared on screen. This area is under Council quarantine. No ships may enter Keltari space. Samantha stood tall. We're answering a distress call. Stand aside. You risk war with the Council, the Admiral warned. And you risk the extinction of an entire species, Samantha replied. Which of us will history judge more harshly? The 15 ships of the Alliance moved forward as one, weapons ready but not firing. The 3 Council ships held position, their weapons powered. It was a standoff that would determine if the Keltari would face extinction alone, or if the outcasts of the galaxy would have a chance to prove their worth. The galaxy ignored our plea. Only humans and outcasts came to fight. For a long moment, nobody moved. The 3 Council warships blocked the path to Keltari space. Behind them, billions of lives hung in the balance. Captain Samantha Reeves stood on the bridge of the Horizon, waiting for the Council Admiral to make his choice. You cannot win against the Void Swarm, the Admiral said. You will only waste your lives. That is our choice to make, Samantha replied. Not yours. Krastar stepped into view, his bioluminescent patterns flashing with anger. The Crowl have chosen to fight. Vexna joined him, as have the Vex. The Remnant's hologram appeared. Logic dictates we must try regardless of probability. The Admiral looked at the strange alliance with disgust. You risk everything for aliens who cannot even help themselves. Captain Joe Winters crossed his arms. Where I come from, that's called being a decent person. The standoff stretched for another minute. Then surprisingly, the council ships began to move aside. We will report this to the full council, the Admiral said. Your worlds will face consequences. Samantha nodded. We understand. Now please, excuse us. We have a civilization to save. The Alliance ships passed through the blockade and accelerated toward the Keltari homeworld. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Keltavara, the true scale of the disaster became clear. The blue-green planet was surrounded by thousands of crystal ships. They formed a sphere around the world, slowly tightening like a noose. The remaining Keltari defenses, a ring of orbital platforms, fired continuously but with little effect. Open a channel to the planet, Samantha ordered. Ambassador Xerax's tired face appeared on screen. When he saw Samantha and the others, his expression changed to one of shock. You really came, he said, his voice breaking. We brought friends, Samantha replied, gesturing to her allies. Xerax looked at each of them. The council said, no one would help us. The council was wrong, Samantha said simply. Now we don't have much time. We need to coordinate with your defenses. On the horizon, Lieutenant Olivia Daniels laid out their battle plan. It was risky, but it was their only chance. The Crowl ships will create a phase-shifted corridor, she explained. The Horizon and the Defiance will use it to get close to the Queen Node. The Vex ships will attack from multiple angles to create a distraction. The Remnant will coordinate our targeting systems. The Keltari's remaining warships would join the attack. Their long-range weapons could help thin out the smaller crystal ships. What about the Keltari orbital defenses? Xerax asked. The Remnant will temporarily upload into your defense network, Samantha explained. It will make them more efficient. Xerax looked surprised. You trust this AI with our systems? With your people's lives, Samantha said. Yes. The Remnant's digital consciousness flowed into the Keltari defense network. Almost immediately, the orbital platforms began firing with greater accuracy. Fascinating system architecture, the Remnant commented. I have optimized targeting by 63%. The battle began moments later. The Crowl warships moved into position, their engines glowing bright blue as they channeled extra power to their phase-shifting technology. Phase corridor established, Krazutar reported. You have 30 seconds to reach the target, Captain Reeves. Understood, Samantha replied. Horizon and Defiance, full speed ahead. The two Earth ships accelerated into the strange, shimmering tunnel created by the Crowl technology. Inside, space itself seemed to bend around them. They passed straight through several crystal ships, which couldn't detect them in their shifted state. Outside the corridor, the battle exploded into chaos. The Vex ships released clouds of microscopic organisms that ate through crystal. The Keltari vessels fired their energy weapons, now modified to target the swarm's resonance frequencies. 30 seconds passed quickly. The phase corridor began to collapse. We're almost at the target, Samantha called out. 5 more seconds. The corridor is failing, Krastar warned. Power levels critical. The Horizon and Defiance burst out of the phase corridor directly, in front of the Queen Node, a massive crystal structure 10 times larger than any other swarm vessel. Its surface pulsed with internal light. Fire everything we have, Samantha ordered. Both Earth ships unleashed their weapons. The crystal surface of the Queen Node cracked in several places, but it returned fire immediately. A crystal beam sliced through the Defiance's port side. Defiance is hit, Rodriguez reported. They've lost engine power, Captain Winter's voice came through, filled with static. We can still fight, rerouting power to weapons. The Defiance fired again, targeting the same crack the Horizon had created. The Queen Node's crystal surface began to splinter. Dr. Morgan's voice came over the comm. Captain, our weapons are working, but too slowly. We need to hit the exact resonance frequency of the Queen node. How do we find it? Samantha asked. I need to get sensor readings from inside one of those cracks, Morgan replied. Sullivan spoke up. I can modify a probe, but someone would need to get very close to launch it. The Defiance is already damaged, Winters said. We'll do it. Before Samantha could protest, the Defiance moved forward, directly toward the cracked surface of the Queen node. It fired continuously, widening the fractures. Joe, what are you doing? Samantha demanded. What needs to be done, he replied calmly. Deploy your probe, Sullivan. As the Defiance approached the Queen node, it took heavy fire. Its shields failed completely. Pieces of hull plating tore away. Into space. Probe away, Sullivan reported as the small device launched from the Defiance. The probe entered one of the cracks in the node's surface. Seconds later, data streamed back. I have it, Morgan exclaimed. The resonance frequency is 15.7 MHz. Sullivan immediately adjusted the Horizon's weapons. Firing modified beam now. The energy beam that struck the Queen node was different this time. Instead of creating new cracks, it made the existing ones vibrate. The vibrations spread throughout the entire crystal structure. The Queen node began to shake violently. Light pulsed erratically from within. It's working, Olivia shouted. Across the battlefield, the smaller swarm ships began to move erratically. Without guidance from the Queen node, they lost coordination. The Defiance, now dangerously close to the Queen node, fired one final volley into the largest crack. The massive crystal structure shattered, exploding outward in a shower of crystal fragments. The Queen node is destroyed, Rodriguez reported as cheers erupted across the bridge, but the celebration was short-lived. The Defiance, caught in the explosion, spun out of control, its hull breached in multiple places. Captain Winters, report, Samantha called. There was no response. Across the battlefield, the remaining swarm ships began to drift aimlessly or turn on each other. Some simply stopped moving altogether. The hive mind is broken, Dr. Morgan explained. Without the Queen node, they can't coordinate. The Keltari orbital defenses, now highly efficient thanks to the remnant, began systematically destroying the remaining swarm ships. We need to rescue the Defiance, Samantha ordered. All available ships converge on their position. As the Alliance began rescue operations, Ambassador Xerax contacted them again. This time, his eyes shone with unshed tears. You saved our world, he said simply. The Keltari will never forget this. Samantha nodded, but her mind was on the Defiance and its crew. The price of victory had been high. They had won the battle, but the war against prejudice and indifference in the galaxy was far from over. The galaxy ignored our plea. Only humans and outcasts came to fight. 3 days after the battle, the Keltari capital city was filled with light and music. The crystal towers, which had been darkened to conserve power during the siege, now glowed with vibrant blues and greens. The surviving ships of the Alliance orbited peacefully above. In a large medical facility near the city center, Captain Samantha Reeves stood beside a recovery pod. Inside, Captain Joe Winters lay unconscious but stable. His body was covered with healing gel that glowed softly. The Keltari doctors say he will recover, said Ambassador Xerax, who stood beside her. Their healing techniques can repair most of his injuries. Samantha nodded gratefully. And the other crew members from the Defiance? 15 survived. 7 did not, Xerax replied solemnly. We will honor their sacrifice. Rescue teams had reached the Defiance just in time. The ship itself was beyond repair, but some of the crew had made it to emergency pods or sealed sections of the vessel. Samantha placed her hand on the clear surface of Winter's recovery pod. Rest well, old friend. You helped save billions. In the Keltari Council chamber, representatives from all parts of their confederation had gathered. They were joined by the leaders of the alliance that had saved them. Samantha for the humans, Krastar for the Kraul, Vexna for the Vex, and a holographic projection of the remnant. The Keltari people owe you a debt we can never repay, said Elder Zelvox, the leader of the Keltari government. Our civilization stood on the brink of extinction, abandoned by those we thought were allies. You, strangers and outcasts, risked everything for us. Lieutenant Olivia Daniels, representing the injured Captain Winters, stepped forward. We did what was right. Any decent person would have done the same. Elder Zelvok smiled. And that is precisely why the galaxy needs more people like you. The celebration was interrupted when Alan Rodriguez received an urgent message. Captain Reeves, he called out. 3 Council battleships have entered orbit. They're requesting permission to land. The room fell silent. Samantha exchanged glances with her allies. Let them come, she said finally. It's time they faced what they did, and what we accomplished. An hour later, 3 Council representatives stood in the chamber. The Ashtar Admiral, who had moved his blockade aside, led the delegation. The Galactic Council extends its congratulations on your victory, he announced formally, not meeting anyone's eyes. Krazatar's bioluminescent patterns flashed with anger. Congratulations? You refused to help when they begged. The Admiral straightened his ornate uniform. The Council has authorized me to offer the Keltari full restoration assistance and to formally recognize the heroism of the intervention force. You mean the outcasts you've spent years ignoring? Vexna asked, her voice musical but sharp. The Council recognizes that certain prejudices may have influenced prior decisions, the Admiral admitted reluctantly. Samantha stepped forward. Admiral, let's be clear. You abandoned billions to die because saving them wasn't profitable. You blocked our rescue attempt. Now you want to swoop in and pretend you were supportive all along? The Admiral's face darkened. Earth is still a probationary member of the Council. Your actions could have consequences. So could yours, Samantha replied. She nodded to Rodriguez, who activated a recording. The holographic display showed the messages from the Council rejecting the Keltari plea for help. It showed the blockade. It showed the battle and the sacrifice of those who died. This recording has been transmitted to every world with communication capabilities, Samantha explained. The galaxy now knows what the Council did, and what the outcasts accomplished. The Admiral looked shaken. This is unprecedented. So was abandoning an entire civilization to die, Eric Sullivan said from where he stood with the Keltari engineers. Elder Zelvox raised his hands for silence. We have no desire for conflict with the Council, but the Keltari Confederation will be making changes to our arrangements. He gestured to a document displayed on a large screen. We are forming a new alliance, the Sentinel Accord. Its founding members are the Keltari, humans, Crowl, Vex, and the Remnant. The Admiral frowned. The Council will not approve. We are not asking for approval, Elder Zelvox interrupted. The accord will be based on mutual defense and respect. Any peaceful civilization may join, regardless of technological development, physical form, or economic power. The Council representatives left soon after, their diplomatic threats falling on deaf ears. As they departed, more ships arrived. Word had spread quickly through the galaxy. Minor species that had been ignored or belittled by the Council came to see the alliance that had defied expectations. In the Keltari Garden of Reflection, Samantha found a moment of peace. She sat on a stone bench, watching the pink-tinged water flow over smooth rocks. You have started something remarkable, said a voice behind her. It was Dr. Morgan. We all did, Samantha replied. Humans and outcasts together. Morgan sat beside her. I've been working with Leartal on something strange. Our sensors detected unusual signals coming from beyond the galactic rim. They seem to be similar to the Void Swarm, but different. Samantha sighed. You think there are more threats coming? It's possible. The swarm might have been just the beginning. Samantha looked up at the stars visible through the transparent dome. Then it's good we won't face them alone. Aboard the Horizon, Captain Winters was transferred to the ship's medical bay once he was stable enough to move. He was awake now, though weak. Did we win? Were his first words to Samantha when she visited. She smiled. We did. The Keltari are safe. Worth it then, he said with a tired smile. As the ship prepared to return to Earth, Samantha stood on the bridge with her crew and their new allies. The Remnant had created a secure communication network that would connect all members of the Sentinel Accord. The Vex had shared medical technologies previously denied to humans. The Crowl offered to teach their phase-shifting principles to Earth engineers. "We should reach Earth in 2 weeks," Rodriguez reported. "They're planning a welcome ceremony." "Just wait until the Council tries to sanction Earth," Sullivan said. "They'll have to sanction half the galaxy now." Lieutenant Daniels looked up from her station. "Captain, I think we've done more than save one civilization. We may have changed how the galaxy works." Samantha nodded. The strong ignored a plea for help, but those who knew what it meant to be ignored, humans and outcasts, they answered. And that makes all the difference. As the Alliance ships departed Keltari space, news of their victory spread from world to world. The story of how a handful of ships from rejected species had saved billions inspired many. The age of the powerful dictating to the weak was ending. New era had begun, one where the outcasts had proven their worth and humanity had shown what it meant to stand up for what was right no matter the odds.